Hey guys, welcome back to the channel for my review of Ninjago Season 11, Episode 14, Vengeance is Mine. At the Monastery, Asphira is continuing to yell again and is sacrificing all of the elemental cobras, so the ninja are forced to very quickly finish up the Titan mech. Meanwhile, the other ninja with the second scroll are heading back home, and Lloyd has a bit of a moment where he gets pretty angry at Nia while he's holding the scroll. The Vipers break into the monastery cave and confront Wu and the ninja, and they are forced to surrender. However, Zane and the other ninjas show up and bring the second scroll too. So then the ninjas take turns clashing against Asphira using the scroll. Then when Zane gets the scroll, he single-handedly defeats the entire army and freezes them. However, Asphira using one final blast banishes Zane to the Never Realm. And with that, the Pyro Vipers are defeated. But Wu goes to visit Asphira, who is being kept in Garmadon's cell, where she reveals that Zane is not dead and instead is banished to the Neverrealm. I know that this is something that really wasn't too significant, but I really like the scene where the ninja were being defeated by the Pyro Vipers and where Wu dropped a staff. A great reference to episode 92, and that scene was really sad. And it's honestly a shame that it was so short, which is something we'll dive into next. I also like the scene where Lloyd kind of got corrupted, a nice little look into how Forbidden Spinjitzu is dangerous, and how that scroll is corrupting, while also tying in nicely to Lloyd fearing becoming like his father. So I like that too, it was a cool little addition. Now, talking about the Forbidden Spinjitzu battle, it was really cool. I have a few complaints with it, but I felt overall it was very fun to watch the ninja getting their own turns using Forbidden Spinjitzu. I really love the way Cole's Forbidden Spinjitzu looks. It looks awesome. And we'll talk about the Zane sacrifice scene. It was a pretty good scene overall, although very short, and that's another con of the 11-minute format. And I thought it was pretty cool how Asphira had one final thing to do when she was frozen in the ice, breaking out of that ice and firing that blast. So I thought that was pretty cool, and the concept of her breaking out of the ice one final time was pretty nice. The prison scene is also very cool, and I like the reference back to the March of the Oni scene where Lloyd visits his dad. It's a very similar scene, it uses all the same soundtracks, and of course, it's the same cell. So that was a pretty sinister scene, and a nice final performance for Asphira. Asphira was also pretty cool in this episode, and I liked her use of sorcery. It's honestly a shame that we didn't see her using more sorcery throughout the season. When I talk about how I don't like the 11-minute format, this episode is one example of why the 11-minute format is not working. We will first talk about how the Pyro Vipers were defeated. I mean, they are built up to be this super powerful army. Asphira is a very powerful sorceress. They have the fire element, but then bam, all it takes is Zane using Forbidden Spinjitzu to single-handedly defeat the entire army. And that is just ridiculous. I know we've seen this done in Ninjago a lot. I mean, explanations like this are kind of a part of Ninjago. You have Zane defeating the Golden Master in the past, and Nia defeating the Preeminent, so it's nothing new, but I really don't like when this happens still, even though it is a fairly normal thing. This time it especially felt ridiculous though, considering it just happened so quickly. And talking about the Forbidden Spinjitzu fight too, I really liked it, but it was just so rushed. I don't even know if it was longer than a minute, maybe 30 seconds. It was really rushed and kind of bland too. I mean, it was just Spinjitzu clashing against each other. Why didn't Nia get a turn either? I mean, I think that's kind of ridiculous that they couldn't even give Nia a turn. So yeah, I mean, I felt like that was just really rushed, although a fun fight nonetheless. And talking also about Zane's sacrifice, it kind of feels like the writers are running out of ideas, and Zane again is sacrificing himself and is later in the end of the episode revealed to be alive. I mean, we've seen this done in Ninjago before, and this is basically a worse version of what happened in the Titanium Ninja. Since Ninjago is just so set on being creative now and surprising and stuff, well, I'll just say that this wasn't surprising at all. I mean, of course, Zane is alive. It wasn't a creative story either, considering we have seen this done before in seasons 3 and 4. So, I mean, yeah, this was just really repetitive, although it was still fun to watch nonetheless. Episode 15 is more at fault than this episode for this, but I feel again because of the 11-minute format, this episode is just super rushed, and we don't see the ninja reacting to Zane's supposed death at all. It doesn't matter whether he's dead or not. At the moment, the ninja think he is dead. So I don't understand why they aren't more sad. But ultimately, I blame episode 15 more than this one, because that's really the episode that should have shown us how the ninja were dealing with that loss. I don't think plot was one of the strong points of this episode, to be honest, and that's kind of a shame because this is kind of the finale of the Fire Chapter. Even though episode 15 is technically the last of the Fire Chapter episodes, this is really the finale where the villains are defeated, and episode 15 is more aftermath. So I really was expecting a stronger plot from this episode, and this just didn't really deliver in that way. It's just super rushed, and then another issue with this episode that I forgot to mention is that it really leaves a lot of loose ends open, and it fails to answer some questions too. What happened to Char? What happened to the rest of the Pyro Snakes? Are they dead? Are they in jail too? Where is the Fire Fang? And these are just some questions that this episode did not answer and that I definitely am wondering too. And yeah, no one really knows the fate of anyone else other than Asphira. I mean, I'm guessing the other Pyro Snakes were probably killed again or went inactive, but what happened to Char? What happened to the Fire Fang, which never even entered the monastery? I mean, these are just some questions that should have been answered in some form during this episode, although of course the most important is what happened to Asphira, and that was answered. As in characters, I know Zane was kind of the focus of this episode, and he had his big moment with the sacrifice, although other than that, I don't think he really got any character moments. So I think Lloyd was cool in this episode too, battling Asphira, and also with the whole corruption thing. I like the reference to Star Wars with the "you'll find them full of surprises" thing. And talking about the action, this episode was really good in terms of action. I quite liked the Forbidden Spijitzu battle, even though I do have my problems with it. The choreography wasn't necessarily the best, and it did feel really crazy and chaotic at times. However, I do feel like it was a good fight still, and still very fun to watch. And the emotion too, I guess that's one of the problems with this episode, since there's just not really a reaction to Zane's death at all. But again, I would blame episode 15 more than this one, since that's really the aftermath. That should have been explaining how the ninja were reacting more. So yeah, Zane's sacrifice was kind of sad, and I especially love how Wu was reacting to it, as revealed during the prison scene with Asphira. My final rating for this episode is an 8.5 out of 10. I feel like overall this was a good episode, even though it definitely did have its issues. The action was really good, and I liked the various fights that we saw, as well as the Forbidden Scroll fight too. That was really unique, and it was awesome to see the ninja each getting their turn, except Nia, of course, because Nia completely got left out, which I feel was a bit lame. Zane's sacrifice isn't anything really special. I mean, after the first time it starts to lose its meaning, although I still feel as though it was a good scene, even though very repetitive, and we have seen this before in Ninjago. But yeah, I like this episode overall, although it definitely did have its issues and failed to answer many questions. Thanks for watching. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, share with anyone and everyone you know, and let me know what you guys thought of episode 14, Vengeance is Mine. Once again, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.